Hello everyone, I welcome you all to Manu Law Classes Current Affair Analysis. In this particular video, we will discuss The Hindu July 19th Delhi edition newspaper. Our main topic of concern for today is about Neeraj Award, about Bimaru Tag, and we will also discuss about ATS or Anti-Terrorism Squad. We will discuss about Rudragiri art, which was famous in the Kakatiya dynasty. And we will then discuss from the editorial section about India-France relationship. Then we will discuss about GM mustard crop. Then we will discuss about Enforcement Directorate. And from the text and the context section, we will discuss about the India-UAE trade deal and how it will be conducted in rupee and dirham. And then finally, we will discuss about the Silver Line project and much more. So without further delay, let's begin our discussion with the very first news that is talking about the Neeraj Award. So here basically actor Anu Kapoor, he will be presented the second Makhavi Neeraj Purishkar at the Press Club of India on Wednesday. Okay, so just remember who is being given this particular award, and it will basically, this award is given basically to mark the 5th death anniversary of Neeraj, who was an accomplished poet, lyricist, and Padma Bhushan awardee. So, based on him, a foundation named Makhavi Gopal Das Neeraj Foundation Trust, it honor people by giving the Neeraj Award. So here basically it was given to owner Rajpal Yadav at the event in the capital, and now it will be given to actor Anu Kapoor. Okay, so just remember about this particular award. Moving further toward our next important section that is coming in from UP, and here the news is about the UP has left its Bimaru tag behind. So the Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath said that the state has risen from its Bimaru tag and is now contributing positively to the process of India's development, which will be on the path of Saksham Pradesh. So here what is important for us to know more about the Bimaru tag and what is this particular Bimaru tag is. So here we will discuss about Bimaru. Just write down few important points. Bimaru is basically an acronym for Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and UP or Uttar Pradesh. So it basically, this acronym or this Bimaru acronym basically imply that these states have lagged in terms of its economic growth. They did not achieve that much of economic growth and they have lagged in this economic growth. Apart from that, they also lagged in healthcare and also in the education sector. Hence the name was given Bimaru. Okay. So what does Bimaru means? We all know that Bimar means in Hindi, it is a Hindi term. Bimar means sickly or Bimar. Okay. So this term was basically used to highlight the backwardness specifically with regard to the poor performance in the demographic indicators and the contribution to the population explosion. So here the economic condition was bad, but the population growth was high. So this was the main reason behind this particular name or this particular acronym. These states had exceptionally high level of mortality. Apart from that, morbidity was also very high. Morbidity means how much you remain sick, that is morbidity. Apart from that, illiteracy was very high. Fertility was also very high. Undernutrition was very high. And also social inequality, it was also at its peak in these states. And they basically lagged in the per capita income. They did not have that much of income compared to their population growth. So that's why based on that a term was coined named Bimaru, and it was coined by whom? It was coined by Ashish Bose in the year of 1980s. He coined this term Bimaru to pinpoint India's demographic malady. And he mainly argued, Ashish Bose argued that from family planning and the population control perspective, These four states, with their high population growth rate, were likely to offset the gains made elsewhere in the countries. So basically, this tag was given to all these states because they were having high fertility, high population, but they were not growing in economic terms according to their population. So that's why this name was given, and now UP will be out from it, as said by the Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath of UP. Okay, moving further toward our next important article, that is coming in from UP police continue to quiz Pakistani citizen and her husband. So there was a news, there was a lady named Seema Haider. She is claiming that she came from Pakistan to marry her husband, like Sachin Meena. His name is Sachin Meena. To marry him, she came from Pakistan. But there is a suspicion that she is a agent of Pakistan. So based on that, ATS is inquiring her and her husband that whether they are an agent of Pakistan or they are a genuine person. So what is important for us is to know about ATS. What is ATS? So first of all, just learn about what is the full form of ATS. ATS stands for Anti-Terrorism Squad. Okay, it stands for Anti-Terrorism Squad. And ATS is a particular police service which is operating in various states, and it is guided by the IPS senior officers. Okay, and there have been many terror attacks in the country which was stopped by these squads or these anti-terrorism squad. Now it is a basically task force. It is a task force. ATS is a task force which is specialized in combating the actions and threats of terrorism. Okay, so ATS is specialized to combat the action and the threats of terrorism. If we talk about the history of ATS, ATS was basically established in the year of 1989 in Maharashtra by the additional commissioner of the Mumbai police. His name was Aftab Ahmed Khan. Okay, it was established where? In Maharashtra. So it was established in Maharashtra in 1989 by the ACP Aftab Ahmed Khan, and he was influenced by the strategies for fighting modern day terrorism by special weapons and special techniques. So it was acronymed as SWAT, which means the squads, the special weapons and tactics. Okay, so he was influenced to introduce SWAT based on which lines? Los Angeles Police Department. Based on this line, he basically wanted to establish a similar organization or similar task force so that they can prove to be useful to combat the threat or terrorism. Okay. After its establishment in 1990, ATS officials have won 23 Gallantry Award, and on 26 November 2008, the Mumbai ATS took part in the hostage rescue operation at different locations of the Mumbai, including the 5-star Taj and the Trident. So these are the important work performed by the ATS. Talking about the primary duty of ATS, what is the primary duty? Primary duty of ATS. So it is first to gather information on the anti-national elements. Okay, whatever is there, anti-national element, it will gather information on that, and then it will basically coordinate and exchange details of these organization or these anti-national elements with other intelligence agencies like RAW and IB. Okay, RAW and IB. Then it will basically what? It will also monitor and eliminate the actions of terrorists or any mafias associated. So they will also monitor and eliminate the actions of these terrorists and mafias and other organized criminal syndicates. It will also basically work for detection and bursting of scams of fake currencies, of fake currency notes, and also of narcotics. So these are the major function performed by ATS. First, it will gather information, then it will coordinate with the other intelligence agencies, then it will monitor the actions of the terrorists and mafias, then it will also work for the fake currency detection and the narcotics. So this is about ATS. Moving further toward our next important article, that is coming in from the section of art and culture. So here basically we will discuss about an art in Andhra Pradesh, Rudragiri. Rudragiri Hillock, which is located in Orvakallu, is basically in the Guntur district of Andhra Pradesh, and it has a historical past and remarkable archaeological monument. And in these monuments, there have been a finding of the prehistoric rock painting which belong from the Mesolithic period. And this particular painting, it extends from the prehistoric up to Kakatiya dynasty. Okay, so this particular painting is belonging from this area, okay, this dynasty. Now, Archaeological Survey of India has basically discovered all these sites, and Rudragiri is basically situated in the Eastern Ghat, which features 5 naturally formed rock culture and its foothills. So it belongs from the Mesolithic time period, somewhere around 5000 BC ago, and it has a rock painting from this era, and also there are other natural caves which have an exceptional painting and exceptional mural painting of the Kakatiya's kingdom. So just remember about this important Rudragiri Hillock and with which it is associated. Remember about Kakatiyas and read about the basic facts. Moving further toward our next important article, which is coming in from editorial section of India-France partnership. Here basically again it is a news which we have already discussed quite since a long time. इसी के आपका आगे एक न्यूज आया है जो आपका हिस्ट्री के एस्पेक्ट को डिस्कस करता है इंडिया फ्रांस रिलेशनशिप में। 1998 में बेसिकली हुआ क्या था, यहाँ पे इंडिया फ्रांस का जो रिलेशनशिप था, व्हेन फ्रेंच प्रेसिडेंट जैक्वेस शिराक, he was the chief guest of the Republic Day parade, and also during his time only the first ever strategic partnership agreement was signed between India and France. Okay, so just remember first strategic partnership agreement जो था वो इंडिया ने फ्रांस के साथ साइन किया था, ना कि यूएसए के साथ। एंड अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी ने इस टाइम पे आपका न्यूक्लियर टेस्ट भी कंडक्ट किया था पोखरान में, मई में। उसके बाद यूएन में, यूएन सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल जो है उसमें फ्रेंच डिप्लोमेट ने ज्वाइन किया था P5 कंट्रीज को, एंड एवरीवन वाज कंडेमिंग दिस टेस्ट बट नॉट फ्रांस। ओके, सो जस्ट रिमेंबर कि फ्रांस ने कभी भी हमारी इस चीज को लेके, न्यूक्लियर टेस्ट को लेके, दे नेवर कंडेम्ड अस। नाउ देयर इज आल्सो अ रिलेशनशिप ऑफ फ्रेंडशिप, एंड द friendship is not a new thing, it has a history. So here basically New Delhi and Paris, they have built a tradition of joining each other's Nation Day parade. शिराक जो थे वो भी हमारे चीफ गेस्ट रह चुके हैं इंडिया के रिपब्लिक डे परेड के 2 बार, और 1976 में उन्होंने सबसे पहले अपना अपीयरेंस दिया था। इसके अलावा वैलरी गिसर्ड ने 1980 के टाइम पीरियड में अपना अपीयरेंस दिया था हमारे रिपब्लिक डे परेड में। निकोलस सार्जोकी, he was also a chief guest of Republic Day parade during 2008 and Francois Hollande in 2016. अब यहाँ पे सिर्फ हमने ही इनको इनवाइट नहीं किया है, इसके अलावा हमारे भी 2 प्राइम मिनिस्टर जो हैं वो वेस्ले डे परेड में जा चुके हैं। कौन कौन है वो? मनमोहन सिंह, he was invited in the year of 2009, and now Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he has also been invited in the Wesley Day parade few days ago. So here basically this kind of relationship, this kind of friendship is very important and it has a history. अभी के अगर हम वेस्ले डे परेड की बात करें जो रिसेंट में हुआ है, तो उसमें हमारा ये जो विजिट था ना सिर्फ इसलिए इम्पोर्टेंट था कि इंडियन प्राइम मिनिस्टर को इनवाइट किया गया था, इसके अलावा बहुत सारे डिफेंस इक्विपमेंट्स और डिफेंस एमओयूज भी साइन हुए हैं। सो दिस इज एन इम्पोर्टेंट पार्टनरशिप। नाउ बोथ द कंट्रीज हैव हेल्ड द रिलेशनशिप ऑन 3 pillars. What are these pillars? First is non-interference in each other's internal affairs. For example, अभी मणिपुर का वायलेंस चल रहा है, इसमें फ्रांस ने कभी भी कोई कमेंट नहीं दिया। यूरोपियन पार्लियामेंट या ईयू जो है उन्होंने कमेंट दिया, उन्होंने रेजोल्यूशन पास किया, बट फ्रेंच नेवर कमेंटेड ऑन इंडियाज इंटरनल अफेयर। सो दिस इज द फर्स्ट good thing. The relationship is based on non-interference in each other's internal affair. Then there is a steadfast belief in the strategic autonomy as expressed by the President Charles de Gaulle and the non-alignment which is expressed by the Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, and there was a refusal to pull the other into its own coalition and alliance. Also अभी हमने देखा 1998 के टाइम पर हमारे न्यूक्लियर टेस्ट को सब कंडेम कर रहे थे, बट फ्रांस ने कभी भी इसको कंडेम नहीं किया। और जब हमने फ्रांस के आपके शिराक को इनवाइट किया था फॉर द रिपब्लिक डे परेड, सो ही ऑल्सो विजिटेड अस। 1974 में जब टेस्ट हुआ था तो everyone was basically blaming India, but France did not do that. So that's why this relationship is being maintained. Also, there was a Paris Conference and International Economic Cooperation which was hosted by France in December 1975. So यहाँ पे आपका ये बेसिकली कॉन्फ्रेंस क्यों करवाया गया था? ग्लोबल एनर्जी क्राइसिस के लिए जो डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज फेस कर रही थी, जो अराइज क्यों हुआ था यूएस अरब टेंशंस के कारण, और योम किपुर वॉर जो था उसके ऊपर जो यूएस अरब के बीच में टेंशन चल रही थी, तो उसके चलते ग्लोबल एनर्जी क्राइसिस हो रहा था। तो उस टाइम पे एक कॉन्फ्रेंस हुआ था, इंटरनेशनल इकोनॉमिक कॉन्फ्रेंस इन पेरिस इन 1975। सो इंडिया को भी यहाँ पे फ्रांस ने इनवाइट किया था फॉर दिस इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्फ्रेंस। देन टॉकिंग अबाउट द स्पेस, न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी और द डिफेंस, these all are the areas of cooperation between India and the France. 2006 में Chirac returned to Delhi and he led the stage for the civil nuclear deal, and it was the time when India got the waiver of NSG in 2008. So the first civil nuclear deal which we signed was with the France and not with the US. Okay, so just remember this important point. Then also there is a passion in the prime ministers and presidents of France, specifically talking about Chirac. He was basically fond of the youthful love and passion for India, and he also tried to attempt learning Sanskrit. So that's why there was a quite cultural aspect which was also associated with Chirac, and that led down the strategic partnership with India as a means of establishing the primary role that India, by reason of its history, demographic choices, attachment of secularism, coexistence of different people, languages and culture, these all contributed, and being such a diverse country, we are a balanced power. So ये सारे points फ्रांस के लोगों को बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं, and that's why our relationship is so good with the France. Now also, when we see in the present context, Mr. Modi visit to the Paris last week. So यहाँ पे there are also a different shade of the partnership, and it was based on the similar line. India's Foreign Secretary Vinay Kwatra pointed out that despite the dramatic visual of the violent protest across France last month over the mistreatment of the immigrant community, Mr. Modi had not hesitated even once in planning his visit. हमें पता है इमिग्रेंट कम्युनिटीज के ऊपर थोड़ा वायलेंस हुआ था उस टाइम पे, लास्ट मंथ के अराउंड, और उसके चलते फ्रांस वाज अंडर टर्मोइल, एंड यहाँ पे फ्रांस को बहुत ज्यादा दिक्कतों का सामना करना पड़ रहा था। बट स्टिल मिस्टर मोदी ने इस वेस्ले डे परेड में पार्टिसिपेट किया, एंड मिस्टर मोदी डिड नॉट hesitated to join, and on a similar note, फ्रांस ने भी मणिपुर वायलेंस के ऊपर कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं उठाया। Apart from that, talking about the Ukraine war, it is basically a very important issue nowadays in the geopolitical time period. And here basically both the countries agreed, basically France is co-authoring UN Security Council resolution with the Mexico that sought to ensure unhindered humanitarian aid to be allowed inside the conflict zone. और साथ में फ्रांस बहुत ज्यादा अपनी तरफ से contribute कर रहा है by calling the Russian Prime Minister and the President to stop the war and to work for the humanitarian aid. So this is a kind of approach which we are also following. Like we also want that the humanitarian approach or the humanitarian should be protected. So this is a idea, or this is a thing which are similar in India and France. Talking about the strategic partnership, so France announced publicly that it disapproves NATO plus partnership. हमने NATO plus के बारे में बहुत बार पढ़ा है. NATO plus is an alliance of NATO countries and also of 5 other countries which include Japan, Australia, New Zealand, South Korea. So here basically the NATO plus partnership was extended to France as well as India, and both of them rejected this idea. So this is a kind of commonality between these two nations. So यहाँ पे इस आर्टिकल में इंडिया फ्रांस और रिलेशनशिप को कैसे हमारा हिस्ट्री रहा है, कैसे ये इवॉल्व हुआ है और ये कितना बेहतर अब हो गया है, इसी के बारे में डिस्कशन कर रहे थे. आगे बढ़ते हैं अपने अगले इंपॉर्टेंट आर्टिकल की तरफ. A push for the GM mustard disregarding science, the law. So here basically first thing which is important for you is to understand the term what is genetically modified crops or what is genetically modified things. GM की बात करें, GMOs genetically modified organism या LMOs, दोनों का मतलब सेम ही होता है, living modified organism. Here basically this is a DNA of a particular organism. This is a DNA of a particular organism. Like suppose this is a DNA of a cotton plant. Now there is a bacteria Bacillus thuringiensis, and here this is the DNA of this particular bacteria Bacillus thuringiensis. Here basically there is a gene which is basically tolerant to any pest attack, or it is working as an anti-pesticides. This gene is working as a pesticide. So what we will do, we will take this particular gene and we will implant it here in this cotton plant. So it will become a living modified organism or a genetically modified organism, and that's what we call BT cotton. Here the gene of Bacillus thuringiensis has been taken out and it has been implanted into the cotton plant so that the cotton plant can be pest resistant, or it can be drought resistant, or it can be flood resistant. ये सारे फीचर्स हम इस प्लांट में जब डाल देते हैं तो इसको हम बोलते हैं जेनेटिकली मॉडिफाइड ऑर्गेनिज्म या लिविंग मॉडिफाइड ऑर्गेनिज्म. सो यहाँ पे बात इसी के ऊपर हो रही है कि ये जो जेनेटिकली मॉडिफाइड ऑर्गेनिज्म है, अभी तक इंडिया में बीटी कॉटन ही हम यूज करते हैं, बट अगर इसको हम जेनेटिकली मॉडिफाइड करेंगे मस्टर्ड में और इसको अगर हम यूज करेंगे जो कि हमारा हर्बिसाइड टॉलरेंट होगा, हर्बिसाइड टॉलरेंट मस्टर्ड, तो यहाँ पे ये एक प्रॉब्लमैटिक सिनेरियो भी बनता जा रहा है कि क्या ये सेफ रहेगा कंज्यूम करने के लिए, बिकॉज कॉटन इज नॉट व्हाट वी ईटिंग. तो यहाँ पे अगर हम कॉटन को यूज कर रहे हैं, बीटी कॉटन को, तो दैट इज नॉट अ प्रॉब्लमैटिक सिनेरियो. बट इफ वी विल यूज समथिंग विच वी विल कंज्यूम, विच वी विल ईट, then it can be a problematic scenario. So here basically there is an argument in favor and there is an argument in against. GM crops जो है they are quite different from the conventional varieties and hybrid. As for example they give more yield. जो आपका GM crop होगा उसका yield अच्छा होगा, drought resistant होगा, flood resistant होगा, herbicide tolerant होगा, pesticide resistant होगा. तो ये सारे इसके important features होते हैं. Now biotechnologists, they do what? They insert a gene at a random location in the DNA of a plant to develop a GM crop, as I already explained it with you a diagram. So here basically this insertion makes the GM crop express trait that is ordinarily would not be there. So here basically GM mustard की अगर हम यहाँ पे बात करें तो इसके जीन को ऑल्टर किया गया है और इसको ब्रॉड स्पेक्ट्रम प्लांट किलर या हर्बिसाइड ग्लूफोसिनेट ये जो है इसमें ऐड किया गया है टू विदस्टैंड ऑल दीज काइंड ऑफ herbicides, and this will make it easier to develop a hybrid mustard seed for the higher yield. Farmers जो है they are growing these mustard and they can spray herbicide to kill all the plant except the mustard. तो इसीलिए ये यहाँ पे बहुत ज्यादा यूज किया जाता है. Now there is a debate कि हमें यूज करना चाहिए या नहीं करना चाहिए. तो environmentalist, scientist, politician, farmer, consumer, हायर जुडिशरी ये सब इसके ऊपर इसकी सेफ्टी के ऊपर बात कर रहे हैं. यहाँ पे बीटी कॉटन की अगर बात करें तो इट इज द ओनली GM क्रॉप एंड इट वाज द फर्स्ट क्रॉप व्हिच वाज अप्रूव्ड बाय द कंट्री बिकॉज वी आर नॉट कंज्यूमिंग इट. सो दैट्स व्हाई इट वाज ऑफ लाइक लो concern, so that's why we approved it. After a long-term research on this particular crop, BT cotton, it was found that it has a fleeting benefit to the farmer. कभी कभार तो ये कल्टीवेशन को बहुत ज्यादा इंक्रीज कर देता है और कभी कभार केस में क्या होता है ये इंक्रीज ही नहीं कर पाता, मतलब बहुत ज्यादा इनॉर्मसली इफेक्ट करता है. साथ में देयर इज ऑल्सो अ प्रॉब्लम ऑफ एनवायरमेंट और बायोडाइवर्सिटी कंसर्न. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इफ दिस पर्टिकुलर gene or DNA of a particular plant, GM plant, it is resistant to everything. Now, if it will be introduced, so it will eliminate what? The other species, the other normal cotton plant. ये भी एक कंसर्न है. साथ में अगर हम इतना हर्बिसाइड टॉलरेंट बना रहे हैं या ये सारी चीजें ऐड कर रहे हैं, तो अगर उसको फॉर एग्जाम्पल इन केस ऑफ GM मस्टर्ड अगर इसको कंज्यूम किया जाएगा तो इट कैन बी ऑल्सो पॉइजनस और इट कैन लीड टू सम अदर प्रॉब्लम, हेल्थ रिलेटेड प्रॉब्लम टू ह्यूमंस. So that is the main concern. And apart from that, there has been a debate like whether it is actually benefiting the farmers or not. So there, like few companies, they got profit because the seed selling companies, they sell this seed by claiming that it will give you a very high harvest or very high yield, but it was not proved that much useful. Now, in the wake of this debate, there was two standing committee of the parliament which was working to examine the GM crop and food, and also the Supreme Court also appointed a technical expert committee in the public interest litigation, and they basically filed separately to the national government organization Gene Campaign and the environmentalist Aruna Rodriguez. So basically ये जो दो रिपोर्ट आई थी आपकी GM फूड की, इसमें आपका डाइवर्सिफाइड इनका जो थॉट प्रोसेस था वो था. स्टैंडिंग कमेटी जो एग्रीकल्चर की 2012 में आई थी ड्यूरिंग द मनमोहन सिंह गवर्नमेंट, और दूसरी जो आपकी स्टैंडिंग कमेटी थी साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी पे, वो 2017 में बनाई गई थी नरेंद्र मोदी जी के टाइम पे. अब इन दोनों का बेसिकली रिस्क असेसमेंट को अगर हम देखें तो दीज बोथ कमिटीज, द टू कमिटीज वर्किंग ऑन दिस पर्टिकुलर इशू, they highlighted the major weakness in the regulatory system and called for the utmost caution before releasing the GM. जो आपकी कमेटी साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी और एनवायरमेंट एंड फॉरेस्ट में बनाई गई थी 2017 वाली, इन्होंने बोला कि GM मस्टर्ड जो है इसमें गवर्नमेंट को बेसिकली क्या करना चाहिए, एक ट्रांसपेरेंट तरीके से असेसमेंट करना चाहिए कि कितना ज्यादा ये सेफ है हमारे लिए, एनवायरमेंट रिस्क इसका कितना है और सोशियो इकोलॉजिकल या सोशियो इकोनॉमिक कंसर्न इसका कितना है. Based on that, there should be a proper law for enacting this particular or for introducing this particular plant. Now, 5 of the 6 TEC member also pointed out the grave deficiency in the safety assessment of the GM crop released in 2013, और इन्होंने फाइंड किया जो आपका हाइब्रिड टॉलरेंट क्रॉप होते हैं, they are completely unsuitable for the Indian context, and that is the main reason जो GM food है या जो आपका GM crop है उसके इंट्रोडक्शन में आपका इतना प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है जो हमारा कंज्यूमेबल है उसमें. उसके अलावा अगर हम बात करें कि ये सारा जो अप्रूवल का काम होता है वो कौन करता है, तो दैट इज कंडक्टेड बाय द GEAC, दैट इज जेनेटिक इंजीनियरिंग ऑपरेशन कमिटी. बेसिकली दे फाइंड आउट कि वेदर दैट पर्टिकुलर क्रॉप इज बायोसेफ और नॉट, एंड ये आपका किस मिनिस्ट्री के अंडर आता है, MOEFCC के अंडर आता है. ओके, सो दिस वाज एन इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट व्हिच यू शुड नो फ्रॉम दिस पर्टिकुलर आर्टिकल. Now moving on further toward our next important topic, that is about the India UAE deal in the rupees. So here basically what is important for us, प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी ने अभी रिसेंटली UAE में विजिट किया था और यहाँ पे दो आपके MOU साइन हुए हैं. जो फर्स्ट MOU है दैट इज विद रिगार्ड टू द लोकल करेंसी सेटलमेंट सिस्टम, जस्ट नोट डाउन दिस पॉइंट, and it will basically promote the use of rupees and dirham bilaterally. And the second MOU, it links the India's UPI with the UAE counterpart instant payment platform. तो ये दो पॉइंट अच्छे से लिख लीजिए. यहाँ पे बेसिकली बोला गया है जो आपका एक्सपोर्ट होगा, वेदर मेजर आइटम क्या है UAE में एक्सपोर्ट का, मिनरल फ्यूल है, मिनरल ऑयल है, प्रोडक्ट्स है, बिट्यूमिनस सब्सटेंस है, मिनरल वैक्सेस है, पर्ल्स, प्रीशियस स्टोन, ये सब एक्सपोर्ट होता है जो इंडिया टू द UAE. ओके, नाउ टू go with this deal or to trade with UAE, the both country basically they found a settlement that is called LCSS, that is Local Currency Settlement System. यहाँ पे ये क्या कर रहे हैं, they are not exactly moving toward de-dollarization, but yeah, up to a some extent they are also moving toward that. They will not use dollars to trade, but they will use dirham and rupees to trade. So this was in news. This was about the first MOU which was signed. And apart from that, जो second MOU sign हुआ है, it will link India's UPI or the Unified Payment Interface with the UAE counterparts instant payment platform. Okay, so this will basically link the card switches, that is RuPay switch and the UAE switch. कार्ड स्विच से क्या होगा, कम्युनिकेशन और जो ट्रांजैक्शन है अलग अलग पेमेंट प्रोवाइडर पे, पेमेंट सर्विस प्रोवाइडर पे वो आपका प्रोवाइड किया जाएगा, और एग्रीमेंट मिला है कि कैसे हमें इसमें मैसेजिंग सिस्टम इंट्रोड्यूस करना है दो कंट्रीज के बीच में, इन दोनों कंट्रीज के बीच में, इन सब पे बात की जाएगी। साथ में जस्ट इतना इंपॉर्टेंट है कि यूपीआई और जो आपका आईपीपी है इसको लिंक किया जाएगा, और साथ में देयर विल बी अ लिंकिंग ऑफ द कार्ड स्विचेस, that is RuPay switch and the UAE switch. So this will definitely benefit both the countries, और यहाँ पे इनका करेंसी भी internationalize होगा. For example, this is the first step by India to internationalize its rupee. Okay, just remember this important point. Now there is a news coming in from Kerala. Now the Kerala government, इस news को हमने already discuss किया है. We discussed about the Silver Line project. So here basically there is a detailing that what is Silver Line project and how it will implement. So here in Kerala there will be a new semi high speed railway which will be expected to cruise at an average speed of 125 km per hour. It has been proposed, and this whole project is named as Silver Line project, and it will be a हाई स्पीड रेल कॉरिडोर। और सिल्वर लाइन प्रोजेक्ट में यहाँ पे एक रेल कॉरिडोर अच्छे से बनाया जाएगा जिसमें इतने हाई स्पीड ट्रेन विद द स्पीड ऑफ 125 किलोमीटर पर आवर चलेंगे। ट्रेन जो है केरला के, दे आर ऑपरेटिंग एट अ रॉक बॉटम स्पीड। Even the express train in the state, they operate at an average speed of less than 50 km due to the frequent stop and the huge number of the sharp curve. This is the main problem कि अभी तक यहाँ पे इतनी हाई स्पीड की जो ट्रेन है वो नहीं चल पा रही है। तो यहाँ पे रेलवे ने एक प्रोजेक्ट रेडी किया है और यहाँ पे ये बेसिकली ट्रैक्स को स्ट्रेटन करने की बात करेगी, मतलब ट्रैक्स को कर्व से हटा के स्ट्रेटन करने की बात करी जाएगी यहाँ पे, जिससे आपका स्पीड जो है वो 110 किलोमीटर पर आवर का या 125 किलोमीटर पर आवर का रीच करा जा सके। सो दिस इज अबाउट द सिल्वर लाइन प्रोजेक्ट। जस्ट रिमेंबर द नेम ऑफ द स्टेट। सिल्वर लाइन प्रोजेक्ट क्या है, किस स्टेट से एसोसिएटेड है और यहाँ पे क्या किया जाएगा, जस्ट इतना याद रखिएगा, दैट इज इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर यू। मूविंग फर्दर टुवर्ड आवर नेक्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट आर्टिकल, दैट इज कमिंग इन फ्रॉम द इकोनॉमी सेक्शन। Here basically government will open a portal to refund the small investor of the Sahara. So Union Home Minister और Corporation Minister अमित शाह ने एक पोर्टल लॉन्च किया है जिसमें जो मनी है रिफंड किया जाएगा 4 करोड़ स्मॉल टाइम इन्वेस्टर्स को, जो सहारा ग्रुप के जो 4 कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटीज थे, लिंक जो थे सहारा ग्रुप के, उससे जो उन्होंने पैसा इन्वेस्ट किया था इन ग्रुप्स में, इन 4 कोऑपरेटिव में। इनका नाम क्या है, 4 कोऑपरेटिव का नाम है सहारा क्रेडिट कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटी लिमिटेड, सहारायान यूनिवर्सल मल्टीपर्पज सोसाइटी लिमिटेड, हमारा इंडिया क्रेडिट कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटी लिमिटेड एंड स्टार्स मल्टीपर्पज कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटी। ये सारे जो आपके कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटी हैं, दे आर लिंक्ड विद सहारा, और इनका जो पैसा अभी फंसा हुआ है यहाँ पे बेसिकली एनफोर्समेंट डायरेक्टरेट ने जो 2 सहारा ग्रुप के एंटिटीज थे उनको इन्वेस्टिगेट किया और यहाँ पे कहा गया कि वो मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग और फॉरेन एक्सचेंज रूल का वायलेशन कर रहे हैं। सो दैट्स व्हाई दिस कंपनी वाज सब्जेक्टेड टू एलिगेशंस ऑफ मनी लॉन्ड्रिंग एंड द फॉरेन एक्सचेंज रूल्स वायलेशन। तो इसीलिए यहाँ पे जितने भी इन्वेस्टर्स थे उनका पैसा बेसिकली फंस गया था। तो इसीलिए यूनियन होम एंड कॉर्पोरेशन मिनिस्टर अमित शाह ने एक पोर्टल लॉन्च किया है जहां पे इन 4 कॉर्पोरेशंस के, ये जो 4 इनके कॉर्पोरेटिव सोसाइटीज हैं, इसमें जिसका जिसका पैसा लगा है उसका पैसा रिफंड किया जाएगा इस पोर्टल के थ्रू। सो जस्ट रिमेंबर दिस इंपॉर्टेंट न्यूज। Moving further toward our next important article that is coming in from the world section, world news section. So here we have a news from United Kingdoms. United Kingdom's illegal migration bill on its way to becoming a law. Rishi Sunak, we know he is the right now Prime Minister of United Kingdom, and he basically passed his house, UK House of Lords, passed the illegal migration bill, and it will basically remove the illegal migrant from the United Kingdom and significantly change the existing protection for the asylum seekers. इससे क्या होगा? इससे जो आपका asylum seekers होंगे उनका नंबर डिक्रीज होगा, इलीगल माइग्रेंट जो कंट्री के अंदर हैं उनका नंबर डिक्रीज होगा, और यहाँ पे इलीगल माइग्रेंट बेसिकली स्मॉल बोट क्रॉसिंग से इंग्लिश चैनल के थ्रू आते हैं और यहाँ पे उनका जो नंबर है वो बहुत ज्यादा है, तो इसीलिए उनके अगेंस्ट इन्होंने इलीगल माइग्रेशन बिल को लॉन्च किया है और ये आपका लॉ बन जाएगा सून, और इसके चलते जितने भी इलीगल माइग्रेंट है दे हैव टू वेकेट. ओके, द न्यू बिल वुड permit the government to detain children for up to 8. This is also a proposal of this particular bill, and it will basically UN refugee or human rights जो हैं they are criticizing this particular bill because it will be against the refugees, so that's why they are criticizing it. So this is all for today. I hope you like this lecture. I hope कि आप लोगों को बहुत सारी चीजें जानने को मिली होंगी. ऐसे ही लेक्चर्स अटेंड करते रहिए जिससे आप करंट अफेयर से अपडेटेड रहें. So thank you everyone. Thank you for attending this lecture. Stay tuned with Manu Law classes. Thank you.